Ain't nothing wrong with you, just remember you're special. Feeling hopeless and alone, just remember there's always God there to be there to help you. Put in effort, make mistakes, no one on this earth is perfect. Trials and tribulations both in life are guaranteed, but in the end it's all worth it. I'm hoping and I'm praying. This is something relatable and the words are beneficial when someone out there can understand what I'm saying. Mind, muscle, motivation. Let's stop playing. Share it with the nation. What they do though? Y'all already know what time it is. It's mind, muscle, spirit, motivation. Again, that's mind, muscle, spirit, motivation. Like, subscribe, share. This channel is all about growth, getting better, discovering different ways, different suggestions to apply, to put into effect to your life. And this is all about a channel of getting better. So if you are looking for that, to get that, tune in, sit back, relax, and let's talk about why do you, whoever may be listening, what do you think is the number one cause for relationships to fail? And it's not just intimate relationships, it can just be friendships. And I'll give you a few minutes to let that marinate into your mind. Because I got my wisdom on that, and I got my thought on that. But again, what do you think is the number one cause for broken relationships? And again, that doesn't have to be intimate, it can be friendships. Now, for me, it's expectations. And it's not just expectations, it's uncommunicated expectations. And we'll talk about the intimate relationships because I'm pretty sure that sounds a little more entertaining. But when it comes to being with a significant other, your spouse, your loved one, in the beginning, everything's good. You don't have expectations. You're getting to know them. You're probably with them still based on the attraction that you have towards them. So, you're not really expecting anything from them. Everything's good. You're going out, all that good stuff. You're doing what it takes to keep a person locked on you and you only. But what happens when all those things stop? What happens when that effort is at a standstill and you already have them and you're content and you're comfortable and you don't feel the need to do any of those things that was once, communicated about what will keep them happy? Now, me personally, I've always wore my heart on my sleeve. I've always been a good communicator. I've always let it be known what bothers me and what just doesn't sit well with me and my emotions. I do believe that maybe I communicated a little too much. I do believe that some people are really good with their words and they share so much that sometimes the other person doesn't know how to respond. And a lot of times what we tell the person that we're, intimate with, a lot of times when we tell them how we feel and what we want, they're literally not able to give that. And a lot of times we let it be known to a person that wasn't raised with the knowledge or the example. For example, if you're a guy, if you're a girl, okay? If you're a girl and you want your guy to be affectionate and that guy isn't the affectionate type and he wasn't all that affectionate when you met him, it's really not wise to want to, force him to be that, which it's not wise to force him to be what he wasn't already when you met him. I know people can change, and if people really want you in their life, they will, go out of their way, get out of their comfort zone and try to at least give you what you want. But there's always a but. What then happens when that person gives you the affection and you've shown that it wasn't enough? it leaves a scar. It does something to that person emotionally. I am talking about myself because I am not the affectionate type, but I will show affection. And if that affection gets turned down, if it gets rejected, if it's if you have already shown me that it's not enough, it's hard for me to go back and do it all over again. It's just hard. And even with friendships, if I go out of my way to see how you're doing, to check up on you, to give you a call, and you don't reciprocate that same type of energy, as I said before, we're all on our phones, okay? We all get on social media every single day. It takes maybe 2 minutes at most just to send a text, maybe even a phone call to see how a friend of yours is doing. If you can get on social media and scroll and look at people who don't care about you at all, who don't know you exist, but you can't send a little message just to say, so and so wanted to see how you were doing, hope you have a good day, blah, blah, blah. I mean, literally, that can take 30 seconds. So, I mean, if that energy isn't reciprocated and you have already brought it to attention, if you already communicated how you feel in regards to that, it's kind of hard to be able to give that same type of effort. So, and again, that can be something that was brought to your attention. And if you expect that person to remain constant in a way in which you turn them down with their consistency, you can't be mad. You just can't. And again, with the intimate relationships, social media has really messed up relationships because, okay, listen, say for example, a guy or a girl, it doesn't matter. They don't communicate with you in regards to the expectations. But not only do they not communicate with you in regards to the expectations, but they develop an expectation from what they see on TV. So my favorite word when it comes to relationships that you're supposed to know. You're supposed to know so and so and to do this and to do that. Look, not everybody is a mind reader, okay? Not everybody knows what you want, even if you've been with them for a long time. Because like I said, expectations, they change. Maybe they're high, maybe they're in the middle, and then maybe they go all the hell the way up because, again, from what you see on TV, all these reality love shows, and you think you want that because of how it looks. So then you have an expectation towards the person that you're with for them to give what you see that you think is what you want. But you don't tell them. Even if it's something that you see, that you haven't experienced, that you don't even know if it's really what you want, you don't communicate. So then it's uncommunicated expectation. Communication is everything. It is everything. If you don't communicate, then you don't have anything. You really don't. But I've always said not to have expectation when it comes to other people. Matter of fact, I have it written down in the wall in here, and I look at it as I'm working out. I walk back and forth to my goal wall, and I have it written down. As a matter of fact, I think I wrote it down in 2019 to not have expectations when it comes to other people. And while it is hard because you let a person cause you to open up so much, and you really think that they're going to give you that same type of reciprocation. You really think they're going to give you that same type of energy. And not always does that happen because, again, a lot of times people don't know how to communicate. A lot of times people don't know how to respond. And a lot of time people will use your communication against you. When you let so much be known in regards to how you feel and to what you want, or whatever it may be. They will use it against you. And you know what? The shameful part of it all is that you can communicate so much. You can communicate so much to what you expect, just to what you want. And a lot of people will know that. And you're so repetitive. You let it be known so much and they don't care. So when you open up and you communicate and they still don't care, they just don't respect you. They don't respect you. And I hate to say it, but you don't respect yourself. You don't respect yourself because you know that they don't care, and you're still damn near begging. You're damn near begging them to realize what's bothering you, what's hurting you, what's causing you to become what you weren't before. And what happens then? You lose yourself. You will lose yourself. So what I'm saying is, when you can have uncommunicated expectation, which is the worst, and then you can just have your basic expectations. Now, I do believe that it's the uncommunicated expectation that's a little worse than just expectations, because, listen, when it comes to friendships, when it comes to relationships, I think we have our signs and our signals, and it's a lot of times it's in the beginning stages of the relationship. And if you don't pay attention, and if you really want that person to be in your life, you will take note. You will take notice, because again, we as people, we repeat ourselves a lot, because we're a little selfish and we don't want to get hurt, and we are deserving of what we want, or at least we feel like we are. A lot of us feel like we are. But I just believe to not have expectations when it comes to other people. If anything, know yourself. If that means talking to yourself in a way in which you are discovering yourself, then communicate with yourself. Communicate with yourself. If anything, forget relationships and friendships. We as people, we have uncommunicated expectations when it comes to ourselves. Because again, like I said, a lot of times we only develop expectations because of what we see on TV and what we see from others. And we think that's what we want. And we don't even know the half of it. We don't know what's really going on behind closed doors. We don't know what it took to get what we see. We don't know the work. We don't know the compromise. We don't know the sacrifices that it took to do the work to get what we see. And again, that goes with the communication part. But the expectation part of it all, I used to always think that what I do, especially if it's repetitive towards any one person, that it's going to be reciprocated back towards me. And I had to learn the hard way that a lot of times it just doesn't happen, because a lot of people, we aren't consistent because we are selfish. If a person is good to us, if a person is giving us what we want, we really don't try to compromise to the want of the other person, because they're steady giving. So we just get used to receiving. And that person's expectations, that person's feelings, everything about them can become unnoticed. And then that leads to the infidelity. That leads to the having access to somebody who will then fulfill our expectations. But then what happens when they stop? It's just an ongoing cycle. And then you're just going to be going from one person to the next and to the next and to the next. And listen, like I said, our expectations change. You can have one person that will do this, you can have one person that will do that, but what does that do to you, really? Especially if you're basing your expectations upon what you see. And that's why I think that the number one communication that we got to have is, of course, with God and ourselves. because we got to know ourselves. We got to really know what makes us happy, not based on what we see or even what we hear or what other people say we're deserving of. We got to know the person that we're with. We got to know who they are in the beginning and understand that this person was this when I met them. So for me to communicate with them in a way in which it changes them, you shouldn't get mad. You already know how I feel about can't, but you really shouldn't. You shouldn't be mad because that person was that when you met them. And you can ignore that and just think that they're supposed to become a way towards you after a period of time is built and developed. But again, I am who I am. I'm not the most affectionate individual, but if I give you affection and you turn it down for whatever reason, again, this ain't just relationships. This is friendships mainly. I'm always, I said this before, I'm always having time for people. Always. Even with the son now, even with the schedule that I have now, even with, the personal issues, whatever I may have, I always seem to, have time for other people. But I don't communicate, also known as complain about it, because I now know that I just shouldn't have expectations when it comes to other people. And it took me years to finally be able to come to acceptance of that. But now that I have, in that area, there's no expectations. And of course, I'm still learning to have no expectations when it comes to other areas, when it comes to other people as well. I'm still in the process of developing that, but that's what life is. It's just a process every single day. It's a learning experience. It's a learning journey, and with different areas of life. But that's what I love about life. But hey, y'all drop your comments. I really want to know what you think is the number one reason for failed relationships. Again, friendships, intimate relationships, whatever it may be. Communication, expectation, uncommunicated expectations. Y'all understand that. It's not just communication. It's uncommunicated expectation. It's not just expectations. It's uncommunicated expectations. Y'all simmer on that. Let it marinate. Think about it. And really think about the wisdom that I gave, that came from my experience, that came from all the hurt, all the tears that I've had throughout the years. And again, I'm no saint. A lot of times it's brought to my attention about what I don't give or the expectations that I don't fulfill. But like I said, I'm still learning. You learn to live, you live to learn. Mind, muscle, spirit, motivation. Hopefully you enjoy this. Hopefully it was entertaining. Hopefully it was something that brought some knowledge. And, like, subscribe, share. Let's continue to grow together forever. And until next time, we out, y'all. Stay blessed. Peace.
In a relationship, one of you can take the lead. One of you can go first to set the example of what it looks like and feels like to say, I'm having a bad day today, and I don't need you to fix it. I know what I'm going through. I want to tell you all of this stuff because I want you to be there with me, and I want to be there with you because I don't want to feel this way alone.